Welcome aboard, everybody. Aloha, my name is Nathan. Nice to meet everyone. I'm excited to take you up flying today as we got a whole lot of beautiful views that probably a lot of people spend their whole lives out here never seen before, because most of them don't got a helicopter like we do. So congratulations on picking the most awesome thing to possibly do today. In case anybody was doubting that, I can reassure you that's definitely the case, because I've done this thousands of times and I never get bored, so I think you're going to like it too. Let's get everybody buckled up, and then we'll go head out on an inter-island adventure. When I first pick up off the ground, I'm going to be communicating with that control tower over the hill there. Just the first few minutes, you won't hear me or them, just the music, until we get outside of the ring of the airspace. But from that point, I'll be able to rejoin you on the intercom for the rest of the flight. We're going to be taking a video, like you can see here, but of course that'll capture the action outside as well once we're up in the air, and it'll get the music and the narration. So if anybody's interested, let them know in the office when we come back. And I'm ready to go for you. I'll be ready to fly. Ready? Okay. For those in here, my name's Nathan. Aloha, everybody. Let's go have some fun. I'll call the control tower, and once they give us the okay, we'll lift off. Okay, we're just outside of the Kahului airspace now, so I'm back online with you. How's everybody doing so far? Doing okay? Yeah, great. We're going to turn left here as you cross on shores. We're approaching this valley called Waihee. This is one of the rainiest places in the world. It can get, sometimes 400 inches of rain a year back here. Not raining right now, but let's go take a peek inside and see what kind of an environment that can create. It's nearly impossible to get into this valley without a helicopter. That makes us some of the few people on the planet to have ever seen these views. But since we got a helicopter, that means we get to go wherever we want. So let's go take a close look at this waterfall up there. Get these views from any hiking trail. Let's see if we can get even a little deeper into this valley. The hills surrounding us are filled with aquifers, meaning that there's water inside these mountains that can slip through the cracks as cold springs. Great waterfalls appearing out of nowhere right out of the sides of the mountains. And all of this valley was formed out of water erosion, so as it rains every evening, it trickles down from the mountain tops and digs out the valley just a little bit deeper each day. Back to the valley, we're approaching a rarely seen spot. We'll see more of those cold spring waterfalls, causing some people to call this area the Wall of Tears. Part in the valley, we're leaving a spot you can really only get to by helicopter, but out here in front of us, there's a trail along the ridge line for anybody who doesn't have a helicopter and doesn't mind working hard for their views, which isn't me, but to each their own. We'll go up over the top, see if there's any hikers to see up here at the end of the trail where they placed a picnic bench. We'll move on over the hills next to our neighbor island of Molokini. See a few people working their way up to the top right there. And a few people at the peak also. Down below in the bottoms of the valleys here is sprinkled about these very light colored trees, almost a whitish green. These are called kukui. If you've ever seen anyone wearing those lei necklaces made of nuts, they come from these kukui trees. Traditionally, the shells of the kukui nuts also were used for making tattoo ink. Out in the distance ahead, we can see across the channel to our neighbor island of Molokini, where we're heading over to. Might look far away, but it's just 8 miles between the islands, and we're flying at under 100 miles an hour, so we'll be over there in just a few minutes. Over to our left, the third island starting to come into view over there, the island of Lanai. Lanai has got the nickname of the Pineapple Isle because the whole thing used to be covered with pineapples from the Dole Company. Eventually, Dole sold off their land, and there's not really any pineapples growing over there anymore, but the nickname stuck. we're in the descent towards the coastline. Just like in an airplane flying lower, so any pressure in your ears just swallow or yawn to eliminate that as we continue lower. Now we'll depart the coastline of Maui and start crossing the channel to a much slower pace of life. Over there on Molokini, the population is only around 7,000 people. This is roughly the same population it's been for decades. People living on Molokini, things not changing too much, is just the way they like it. Straight ahead of us is a little tiny island up here just before Molokini, which is a popular destination for scuba divers. Divers like going all the way out there from Maui to little Molokini Island because the place is swarming with hammerhead sharks. But sharks don't bother the divers at all. It's just cool to look at in the water. Not much tourism over on Molokini. Their biggest industry is the cattle ranching, and there's a ranch straight up, fly right over as you arrive at the island, although even as we do, you might not even see any of the cattle down below. They're out there, but you just have a lot of space to spread out, just like the people of the island. One half could, it's one and more. It's gonna send me to my knees. All along the coastline out here, just under the surface of the waters, is the largest coral reef in the United States, wrapping around the whole south side of the island. Throughout the years, almost always clouds settle on top of Molokini, and this creates a unique environment for life to thrive up there that doesn't exist anywhere else. There's varieties of birds, orchids, ferns that only live atop this one mountain and nowhere else in the world. Keep Welcome to the island of Molokini. We're approaching a valley over here called Halama. It's believed that this valley is where civilization first began in the Hawaiian Islands. When the first Polynesians arrived by canoe over 1,000 years ago, this is where they settled. So this is where the story of Hawaii began. Still to this day, there's people living out here in the valley toward the shoreline side, but we're heading over here to the bank because we're here to the waterfalls. Next, we're going to head over to the cliffs on the north side of the island. These cliffs that just happen to be the tallest in the whole world. Cliffs out here rise in the ocean to over 3,000 feet up to the clouds. Here we find the waterfalls of Papalaua.
Island in your eyes, paradise, calling you, calling me.
Down the forest you see all of these spiky palm-like trees. These are called hala. The old Hawaiians used the leaves of these hala to weave together sails for their ocean-going canoes.
Sunshine from your heart, descending in magic. Island in your eyes.
Along the cliffs are all of these horizontal lines that are created by each eruption. Each lava flow piled upon the previous one, growing the island over time. So it's a bit similar to looking at the cross-section of a tree, how you can see its lines of growth through the years. The cliffs were created 1.4 million years ago when an earthquake came, splitting the island in two. And the whole north half crashing into the ocean. That's what left us with the cliffs that we see out here today. Ahead around the corner, we'll pass by the shoreline side of that valley of Palava, where for centuries, thousands of people at a time were living off the land out here, able to maintain that traditional lifestyle all the way into the mid-20th century. It wasn't until about the 1940s that they started to modernize a bit. But other parts of the Hawaiian Islands from very long ago are modernizing very quickly. Since the 1700s, sailing ships traveled the globe and exchanged goods with the Kingdom of Hawaii and brought technologies to the island to the point that the Iolani Palace over in Honolulu actually had electricity in its building even before the White House ever did in Washington, D.C. But all the while out here in Halava, the place remained a glimpse into the past. At the same time, way out in front of us, you can see all the way across the channel to the bases of the two volcanoes that long ago merged together out of the ocean to form the one island of Maui. In between the islands, the water is very shallow. Deepest point out here, only about the distance from us down to the ground. Very different from the open ocean. Now, if we were to travel just a few miles to our left over there, quickly gets nearly 10,000 feet deep. So this is a unique spot to be out here in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, but over such shallow water. And that's one of the reasons that the humpback whales will travel so far away to come out here every year in the wintertime. The whales use the shallows like a nursery and give birth to their calves. Raise their young out here until they're old enough to make the journey to get with the family and back across the ocean, thousands of miles, and do it again the next year. The reason that it's so shallow out here is because at one point in time, all these islands surrounding us used to be joined together as one big island that they called Maui Nui, which means Maui the Great. Not that the islands are ever closer together, though, but the sea level used to be lower, so that exposed the seabed between them and connected them all as one. At least for these islands out here. But to the southeast of Maui on the other side, the big island, 26 miles away, which makes it just too far to have ever been joined with the rest of these islands on Maui Nui. But there's a story from back in the 1500s describing the time when the big island came over to invade Maui. They had to cross that channel in order to attack. But they say they had so many canoes in their fleet that they didn't even have to paddle to get across the water, and they just lined up the boats and had the warriors walk one island to the next over the canoes. So that's what they said. Now, behind us, past Molokai, the next island back there is Oahu. The same distance between those two, 26 miles, same as the big island of Maui. And every year they hold a canoe race, so people really will paddle that whole 26 miles of ocean by canoe going all the way from Molokai to Honolulu. It's obviously all crazy people. Although my wife was one of them for 6 years in a row. Definitely not my idea of a good time, but she seemed to enjoy herself, although she would be pretty tired by the end of those days, taking about 6 hours to get across. It was always cool to see all those canoes coming across the ocean from up in the helicopter every year. As long as I didn't have to do it. Now looking up here in front of us, approaching some cliffs that are colored red because of the presence of oxidizing iron in the lava rock. Essentially rust inside the mountain. Back in the 1700s, the king of Maui come out and dive off these cliffs before bringing his soldiers into battle as he tried to inspire his troops with his bravery. Eventually, the legends of King Kahekili and his cliff diving became the inspiration for the sport of cliff diving. So now the highest award you can achieve in the sport is the King Kahekili Trophy. All along the cliffside here is a road named after that cliff jumping King Kahekili. Up there is the Kahekili Highway. Now, the road here goes all the way around the whole north side of the mountain, but if you're trying to drive from one side to the other, I wouldn't recommend this route. It's always faster to go on the south side, even if it looks further on the map, because up here the road becomes eventually so narrow you can't even pass by traffic coming from the opposite direction. It can be a big problem when you're on the edge of a cliff and no place to pull over to. But short distance driving is easy out here as long as there's 2 lanes like you can see beneath us. It does, however, eventually become 1 lane for 2 directions of traffic, which is probably a good time to start thinking about turning around on the Kahekili Highway. So if you're coming from the west side, or you come up around the corner past the Nakalili blowhole and up here maybe to this loop trail called the Ojai Trail, you can park your car, get out and walk around along the edges of the cliff, but I wouldn't want to go too much further than that. Past this is a rocky outcropping up there where there's some tidal pools, but if you go down to the pools, you really want to be careful as the rocks are always very slippery. although I don't recommend people driving all the way along the Kahikili Highway. The road's very important for the people that live tucked away in this valley village of about 150 people called Kahakaloa. They're separated from everything else on the island, so for them, this road is their only way home. Many of the residents here are descendants of the people who've been living in that same valley for centuries, so there's a lot of history out here. Past the village, you head around the next corner, we'll soon be able to see across the whole island. It's so narrow in the middle part of Maui, where long ago these two volcanoes joined together to form the island, and that central valley between the two is where C&H grew its sugarcane for over 100 years. From this point, we'll be re-entering the Kahului airspace, so just as before on takeoff, I'll be off frequency with the control tower communicating with them for the rest of the flight back. So I'll leave you with the music and the views for the rest of the trip. Be on the lookout for sea turtles, manta rays that can often find the shallows heading in. So although we got a little bit of flying left to do, since I'll be offline, I'll take the opportunity a little bit early. Say thanks so much for flying me, everybody. Fun sharing the views with you. I'll be back on solid ground in a little bit. Mahalo nui loa. Thanks so much, and I'll talk to you back at the airport.
yesterday, dark sacred night, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of people going by. I see friends shaking hands, saying how do you do. They're really saying I love you. I hear babies cry, I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than I never knew. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Yes, I think to myself, what a wonderful
Back, everybody. Welcome back to Earth. Thanks again. Just wait inside the helicopter for a moment. The ground crew is going to come over to assist you out. If anybody's interested in the video we touched, let them know in the office. They can make a copy for you. Enjoy the rest of your day.